Hi, I'm Michelle. You usually see me out in the garden when you're at your school site. But today I'm at the Edible Garden Resource Center in the office because it's too windy outside and you wouldn't be able to hear me. I'd rather be outside, but this will work fine. I'm here presenting a lesson today from the Power Play booklet called Grow Your Own. This is a great lesson. This is going to teach you how to grow vegetables or even flower seeds from seed. Then once they get a little big for their pot, we're also going to talk about transplanting or potting up so that you can go ahead and have your edible garden at your home. So I know a lot of you have said you have a garden, and I hope this last few months that you've been home, you've been out there working in it, watering, nurturing, eating from it. Some of you say you don't have a garden, but I want to remind you that at each school here at Pittsburgh, we have a garden. So all the lessons we're learning today, you can put that into practice at your school when you go back. All right, well, hopefully you've had a chance to pick up your packet. Inside here, you're going to find everything you need to be successful in this lesson. And we'll go through it right now so that you can see how we're going to do this. The first thing you're going to find when you open it looks like a blank piece of paper. I want you to lay it down on the surface that you're going to work on. It is a blank piece of paper. It's just to protect our surface. I'm working here in my office that's used to a lot of soil. I don't want you to work on your dining room table or your desk or your kitchen table without protection. Okay, this not only protects your surface because we are going to be dealing with soil, but this will make cleanup easier. Okay, the next thing you're going to find in here is rolled up paper. These are two recipes we're giving you that we've come up with, one for kale chips and one for salsa, because we are going to be planting tomato seeds and transplanting or potting up kale. So this is good to have. You're also going to find these wonderful Harvest of the Month sheets. Now, these have all sorts of nutritional information. They have a recipe on each, how much you should eat. They're really wonderful things, and I'd like you to check this out, and the adult in your house would like reading this. Lots of good information. And we've got a little coloring sheet, just a little clip art fun thing for you to do. All right, we're going to put this aside and see what's next in our bag. I'm going to take out the pots next. It's a little group of pots. Let's keep them all together. We're going to keep them right over there. We've got the seed pack of tomatoes. This is what we're going to plant. Now, one thing I'd like you to be aware of is on the back of every seed pack, there's tons of information. It tells you when to plant, how deep to plant, how many days it'll take before you'll see your tomato seeds peek out of the soil. That's called germination. Now, we're going to plant tomato seeds, and it takes 5 to 10 days for those seeds to peek out of the moist soil. If the 11th day comes or the 12th day and you still don't see any bit of green peeking out, I want you to plant more seeds. So today, we're going to plant only half of the seeds in this packet. Here's a little bag of soil. Now, this is not soil I dug up from the garden. That would not work for seeds. Seeds need a very clean kind of soil. It's a store-bought soil. I use seed starting soil. You're going to open it. It's not wet. It's not dry. It's moist. That's right in between. That's just right. And that's what plants love. If you pick it up and squeeze it in your hand, it'll stay like a little ball. That's how you can tell your soil is properly moist. When we're planting seed, it's vital. That means you have to keep the soil moist. Seeds don't need the sun until they poke out of the soil, but the soil must stay damp. If you let it dry out, the seeds are not going to germinate. So it's got to stay moist. Not wet, not soaked, but moist. Now we've got a spoon in here, and we can use this as a scoop or not, but it's nice to have. It's a good tool. You're going to find some stakes in here, and these are blank. This one we're suggesting is for kale. This one will be your tomato stake. So I'm going to put those there and show you what we've got going. This is our kale steak. And then this is our tomato steak. I want you on the back of your tomato steak to write the date you plant them. Why do you have to have the date you planted them? Because as I said before, on the back of a seed pack, it'll tell you seeds will germinate in 5 to 10 days. Maybe you forgot to water 2 days and day 11 comes, no germination, day 12 comes, no little plant poking out. It's time for you to plant more seeds and start over again. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just plant more seeds. But that's why you want to have the date on the back of your steak. What else is in here? Just some markers, and that'll help you do that. We put in some markers so you can write on your steak and make them real colorful, and also on your clip art. All right, I'm going to put my glasses on because that helps me see. And what I'm going to do with the seeds is tap them down just like that, getting ready to open them up. Here we go. We're going to gather our little pots. You're first going to go with the Dixie cup. That's right on top. Now, what I'd like you to do is go get water. Fill it up because we're going to need this for our lesson. So let's go get some water. All right, here's the water. I'm going to set it over there so I don't knock it down. All right. Next, we're going to take out the little pot. Now, I want you to do this very gently because there's a plant under there. We use this for protection. So I'm going to take this off and I want you to come take a peek. Take a peek. There's our kale. We'll be transplanting that in just a minute. Okay, so now we're going to fill our little pot, not the big one, the little pot. We're going to fill it with this moist soil. Now you can use your spoon, but I'm going to just dig right in there. I'm going to scoop it right up like this, right pretty much to the top, about 1 knuckle down. Okay. What I'd like you to do is tap it down with your finger or with your spoon. But this is soil. Remember, we're going to wash our hands when this is all done. Don't be afraid to get your hands in the soil. Actually, feels really good. So it's just about a knuckle deep. That way when I water it, the water has a place to settle. Okay, we're ready for our seeds. Tap, tap, so that the seeds are not up at the top of the package. See how I tapped? Tap, tap. I'm going to just go ahead and rip the top off. Now, this particular package of seeds only has about 15 seeds in there. That's not a lot, but we're only going to use half today. So see how I opened the package? I'm peeking in there to see all the seeds. All the seeds. I'll tap some out in my hand, making sure there's some left in my package. Okay, you'll see I have half the seeds in my hand. That's about 7 seeds. And I've got about 7 seeds left in the pack. I'm going to tap these seeds off of my hand right into my pot. Then I'm going to close this up and I'm going to tape the top. Right now I'll fold it down, but I suggest you tape it closed because you want to save these seeds. Like I said, you might want to grow more tomatoes, or just maybe these seeds won't germinate for some reason. Now I'm going to give you a close-up peek at how I want your seeds to look. I want them a little separated in this pot. So come take a closer peek. See how they're separate? That will make it easier for us to separate the plants when they get bigger, or just save the one and cut off the others. Now put your pot down, and with your spoon or your fingers, I'll do it with a spoon this time, just one little scoop goes on top and pat it down. Pat, pat. I don't want you stomping it so hard. These are teeny little seeds. You saw how small they were. So just tap it gently. Tap, tap, tap. See how gently I'm tapping it? And now we're going to water it. But before we do, you'll see these white cups on the bottom. Take one and put your newly planted tomato seeds in it. This is going to catch the water. Now I want you to water it with half this cup of water. Okay? Don't do it way up here. Come way down close where you are. Ah, that's just about half. Wow, that looks great. I'm going to get my stake that says tomato and today's date. I'm going to put it right in there. Now, this has to stay moist for 5 to 10 days. That's how long it takes for tomato seeds to come up out of the ground or to germinate. Now, I started one 6 days ago. You want to come take a peek and see what it looks like? What you'll be expecting? Look, we've got one there, one's coming up here. So we have about 3 germinating. All right, so this means when you see them germinate, they have to go in the sun. Right now with this, for 5 to 10 days, or until you see them start to germinate, they don't have to be in the sun, but it's nice to have them in a warm spot. But it's not mandatory that they're in the sun until they germinate. When they germinate, make sure it's a sunny windowsill. And here's the thing, I wouldn't put them outside all day on a hot day. Just keep an eye on them because you remember, you want to keep them moist and they're very delicate when they're small. All right, tomato, done deal. Next, we're going to transplant this kale or pot up this kale. It's been growing in that tiny little pot, all squeezed in. It's time for it to stretch its wings. However, I don't want you, I think maybe the first thing you'd want to do is just grab it up like this. Do not do that. It will break. It's super delicate. That's not how you handle little plants that are in such a deep situation. So come take a closer look at how I'm going to get it out of here. I'm going to put my finger inside the pot, right on top of the soil, and the spoon on the outside, and I'm going to lift it up and set it right there. See? We need soil in our pot first. One thing I want you to notice is there's a black felt pin line. I went ahead and did that ahead of time. It's about that deep. You'll see it on the inside. Now, why is that there? Because that's as deep as I want you to put soil in. I don't want you to fill this to the top because this has soil. Plants have to be transplanted or potted up the depth that they grew in. So wherever this is growing now, that's how deep I want it. I'm going to come over here and scoop up some of this beautiful moist soil right up to the line. Let's see how many spoonfuls it's going to take. 3, 4, I'd say 6, 5, sure enough, 6 spoonfuls, and it's right up to the line. That's where I want it. Now, to get this out of here, what I'm going to do is use the stake, because we, again, don't want to pull the kale. We're going to loosen up the edges just like you do with a cake when you're baking a cake at home. How you kind of loosen the edges and keep your fingers crossed that it comes out right. You do that with flan too. All right, so here it is. I'm scooping around it. I'm going to put my stake down and I'm going to squeeze it a little bit. Now see how I do my 2 fingers? I'm going to put the kale in the middle and my 2 fingers on either side, just like this. Tip it over right on top of your paper because it might be loose soil, it might be tight, and it might be loose. We're not sure. Keep your fingers crossed. Come out, all in one piece. Beautiful. I'm not squeezing that. My fingers are still apart, but I'm holding it gently. I'm going to put it right in the pot. See how easy I did that? Gentle, gentle. Remember, this is a baby plant. It needs special care. Now, it came out of this, so I'm going to use this as a soil scooper. I'm going to scoop soil and drop it all around our beautifully grown kale plant. One of the most nutrient-dense vegetables on the planet. Full of tons of good nutrition. I actually have probably about 4 leaves a day in my smoothies. And now I'm patting it down. Patting it down. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just tamping gently. Here's my sign. Kale. Yay. The other half of our water, giving it a drink. This has to go on a sunny window or in a sunny spot. If you are going to put this outside, start out with a couple hours a day and then bring it to the shade. A couple hours a day, bring it to the shade. I usually do 1 hour Monday, put it in the shade, 2 hours Tuesday, put it in the shade, 3 hours Wednesday, put it in the shade, then it's good to go. So, that's a lot of information, but it's really something I know you can do. So get out there and plant.